Hi everyone, welcome back to Clipping for Coupons with Allie. Today is going to be a little bit different of a video. It's not going to be any deals or any Dollar Tree hauls. Today is going to be cooking. I am getting ready to make an oven bag whole chicken, and some of you have asked me in the past, how do I make it? And the reason why I started getting those questions is because I originally did a product review from Dollar Tree on these oven bags. They have both the large size and the turkey size. I always make sure that I have both packages on hand. The large size usually comes with a little bit more. Turkey size comes with 2 to 3, depending if you can find the bonus packs or not. But that's how the questions were raised. So today I am going to be making this chicken. I got this, I believe, from Stop and Shop. It's a little under 5 pounds. I got it for $5.46, and that's pretty cheap for a whole chicken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be making this whole chicken in the oven, but inside of an oven bag. And also, while I'm at Dollar Tree, I always stock up on not only the oven bags, but I also stock up on some of these pans. Usually like a 13 by 9 or larger will work depending on the size of your chicken. But I always make sure that I have that for easy cleanup. And the bag holds all of the juice and anything that's going to fall. But I always put the pan underneath just in case. And you don't have to use a disposable one if you don't want to. And I don't know if you guys just heard the oven beep. I do have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. So the first thing that I do is I make sure I have everything out that I'm going to be using. This is pretty straightforward because we do not add a lot of ingredients because the hubby just had a kidney transplant. So no salt added, as plain as possible. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the Mrs. Dash. We mix these up a little bit. We have the chicken flavor, we have the Southwest Chipotle, and also the garlic and herbs. So we're going to be using those seasonings. But the first step is make sure you have everything out, meaning your oven bags. Make sure you have your seasonings that you're going to be using. I always open a bag before I wash my meat, and I open up the bag so as soon as I'm done in the sink, I can just put it right in here. I season the meat right here as soon as I put it in. I always make sure that I have a sharp knife because I like to make little slits in the chicken so the seasoning can get beyond the top surface or top layer of the skin. And of course, the bags always come with these little ties, so I always make sure that I pull one out so I make sure I have it handy. We do not leave this bag open. We do tie it, so I'll show you that. And I always make sure that I have some gloves on hand because I never handle the meat with my bare hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpackage this chicken. I'm going to wash it and I'm going to place it in here. I will be right back and we will go from there. All right, so we are back. I just removed the chicken from the package. I went ahead and I removed the insides that come in the inside of the chicken. I removed that and I rinsed it off with some warm water. And now the next step is going to be to make some slits in the skin. I usually do 3 with a sharp knife. Also, if you would like to add any potatoes or vegetables, now is the time where you can do that as well. If you're going to do that, just make sure that your vegetables or potatoes are already pre-cut. So once you put the chicken in the bag, you can season it, put the other stuff in, and put it right in the oven. So the next step to this, I have it placed right in the center of the oven bag. I'm going to make 3 slits on this side with my sharp knife and 3 slits on the other side. And then after that, I'm going to add my seasonings. Today, I'm not going to add any potatoes or vegetables to the oven bag. All right, so I went ahead and I made some slits here. So that is just so the seasoning can go down underneath the skin layer. Sometimes I will even add in little cubes of butter. I'm not going to do that this time, but it is an option. It makes the skin a little bit more crispy. And what you can also do, if you're worried about the bag sticking to the chicken, you can place in like a small teaspoon worth of regular flour, like all-purpose flour. Shake it around in the bag and it will prevent it from sticking to the top of the chicken, because sometimes that does happen and it will pull the skin off. But just a heads up, the first thing that I'm going to be using is the chicken. This is the Grilling Blends Salt-Free Mrs. Dash. This is the chicken flavor. This is one of the hubby's favorite seasonings since transplant. We weren't really cautious before about, salt intake and things like that, but now we are super cautious. So as you can see, I'm just kind of generously sprinkling this, and I'm going to be using more than one seasoning, so that's for the chicken. The Southwest Chipotle, we only use a very little bit of this one. You guys, if you haven't tried this yet, it tastes like it would be great for some chicken fajitas. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to be using this one here, the garlic and herb. And all I do is just sprinkle it right on the top. And then you can either rub this in. I like to use, if I don't have any extra gloves, I just use the bag on the outside with my hand and just rub it in. The seasonings will fall to the bottom, so you don't necessarily have to coat the bottom of your chicken with the seasonings. I also want to tell you guys that these oven bags are awesome. They work very, very well. They create a lot of juice at the bottom. So that is what is going to flavor the bottom of the chicken. So everything from the top is going to fall to the bottom. It will still remain on the top, but the flavor will fall to the bottom, I should say. So now that I have this all seasoned up, you can now place in any vegetables or potatoes. And if you're not going to do that, you can go ahead and close this bag. They come with these little things here, the ties, and these are super simple to put on. You just put one end through the other, and after you do that, you poke holes in the bag to let the air out so the bag doesn't explode once it's in the oven. And once you have the holes in here, you can go ahead and place it in your preheated oven. I have my oven right now preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to go ahead and cook this for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on your stove. We like to cook it a little bit longer, but it's completely up to you guys. It's a personal preference. So let me go ahead and close this bag. I'm going to poke some holes in it as well. You can use a fork, you can use a knife, whatever's easier. Just be very careful you don't cut yourself. And I will be right back to show you what it should look like. So I have a bag tied here, and as you can see, you just put one end through the other. So the other end that looks exactly like this goes through the hole, and then you just pull the tab and tighten it. I went ahead and I just used a regular fork to go ahead and poke holes in the bag. I like to tuck this underneath. I don't poke holes too close to the bottom because, again, these bags do make a lot of juice for the meat that's going in here. You can put any meat in these, you guys. You don't have to do just chicken. You can do any meats, fish, vegetables, potatoes, turkeys, hams, whatever you want to do. Just pay attention to the sizing on the bags at Dollar Tree. The large size is up to 8 pounds. The turkey size is up to 24 pounds. So just be aware, you don't want a bag that's too big or too small. So this is what it should look like. It's super simple. It's super quick. I use all disposable things for easier cleanup. It makes it much faster, much simpler, and it is super, super juicy and super yummy. So I'm going to go ahead and place this in the oven right now. Again, the oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to put it in the oven. I'm going to set my timer for an hour and a half. I'm going to check halfway through the cooking time with you guys to give you an update. And again, remember, if you don't want your bag to stick, you can always add in flour, all-purpose flour. Just a very little bit. I did not add this in because I do not have any here at the house, and I forgot to pick up some at Dollar Tree. But just so you know, if you're reading the directions on the oven bag package, you may see that it will require at least a small pinch of all-purpose flour. But here's our chicken in a bag. It is all washed up. It is all seasoned. The bag is closed. We have it tied. It's in a safe pan here. So let's go ahead and get it in the oven. I have this on the middle or bottom rack you can use. So we're going to leave this in here for about an hour and a half, and then we're going to come back and check on it. Hour and a half. We'll see you then. Alright guys, our timer just went off for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and as you can see, there is a ton of juice that is below the chicken. It is not completely done just yet. I'm going to put it in for another about 30 minutes, and then the skin should be golden brown. If you want to have a browner skin, you can go ahead and add those cubes of butter under the skin like I mentioned earlier in the video, but overall it is cooking well. And here it is. 30 more minutes, and then we will be back to take the chicken out of the oven. Alright, so this has been cooking for 2 hours exactly. Our timer just went off, so we're going to go ahead and get this chicken out of the oven. Here is our chicken out of the oven, and as you can see, it does have some steam buildup. It has a ton of liquid. This is super, super hot, so make sure you guys are being really careful when you take this out of the oven. Of course, when you're done with the oven, make sure you turn it off. Use your oven mitts because this is going to be hot, and especially because this has a lot of juice at the bottom, you want to make sure that you're being very careful and you're not burning yourself. So after I take it out of the oven, what I do is I let it sit for a few minutes, and then I go ahead and I remove this bag from the chicken. And what I do to minimize the cleanup, if I'm using a non-disposable pan, I literally keep the bag right in the pan, and I cut the meat right in the bag that is in the pan, and then just discard whatever else. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sharp knife, and I'm just going to kind of lift up the bag. And I don't want to burn myself, so I'm going to put the camera down for just 1 second, but I'm going to cut a hole in this bag. And to make it easier, if you guys want, you can just undo the tie here. Sometimes I find that it's still really warm, so I don't necessarily do that, but it's up to you. Okay, here it is. So I cut the bag open. I have it here. I kind of just drape it over the sides. There's a ton of liquid that it produces, so this is not going to be a dry meal by any means. You can make gravy if you want. You can stuff your chicken ahead of time with some stuffing. Remember, you guys can use vegetables, potatoes, whatever you want. And if you do decide to use the butter on the top, this will brown up a little bit more and be a little bit more crispy. But when you go in to cut this meat, it is literally going to fall off the bone, and it's super super, super yummy. So that is how you make chicken in a bag. Let me know if you guys will be checking out this recipe. Again, you can find the oven bags at Dollar Tree. At most Dollar Trees, they have them for just $1. You cannot beat that at all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that notification button so you do not miss out on a single video.